Welcome to the hottest real estate topics on the planet, keeping you up to date with all the creative ways to buy and sell real estate without bank qualifying, so anyone can build real income starting today. Here is another great show with Dealmaker Bill and Pete the Rookie.
All right, here we are at another episode of Flipping Houses for Rookies.
Good morning, Bill.
Peter, how are you this morning?
I'm good. How are you?
Are you excited about doing episode 119?
No.
No? How come?
Well, what's so special about 119?
That's where we are right now, in this exact time and moment. I thought maybe you'd be excited.
Well, I don't even know what it's about yet.
Ah.
I just come and I sit down, and it's 119, 1110. I just start. Once I get going, I'll be excited.
So let's do first thing first.
Yes.
I am good. Thank you for asking.
You're welcome.
A little bit of a delay there, but I am good. Thank you for asking.
It's early.
Episode 119.
Hey, Bill, you can't have jet lag when you're on the East Coast.
Yeah,
the
exactly.
East Coast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was out of town. I was in Florida for a few days and flew back in just in time to do the meetup last night.
Well, it's 3 hours difference, isn't it, to get from here to there?
No, yeah. All right, episode 119. Who should be on your real estate investing dream team?
Cindy Crawford.
Cindy Crawford. Who else?
Barbara
Pete?
Anderson.
One more.
Diane Lane.
So we know who you like, what type of women you like.
Yeah, I'm not even doing Marilyn Monroe because she's been dead too long. But she's still on magazine covers. How do you do that?
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's called marketing.
Yeah, marketing.
I'll tell you how you do that. Somebody, somewhere, is still getting paid.
Yeah, huh?
That's
Somebody
how
still
it
has
works.
the rights to the royalties
Right.
of. Woo.
All right, episode 119. Who should be on your real estate investing dream team?
Real estate. Okay, so who should it be, Bill?
In this podcast, let me read it. Probably should put on my glasses that I don't own.
Oh, is that what it is?
Yeah.
Oh, no.
In this podcast, Bill and Pete reveal, I'm Bill, you're Pete, just in case you're curious. In this podcast, Bill and Pete reveal who you should surround yourself with and trust when doing deals. Mm-hmm. Also, learn when and how to build this core network of reliable people so you put your attention on the deals, Peter. Not put your attention on trying to figure out how to do the deals. See the difference?
Mm-hmm.
Once you fully understand and absorb what's in this podcast, you're ready to apply the most critical, Peter, part of your real estate investing career. Delegation. This is true only because today we will cover not only who, but the major duties these folks should perform so everyone is on the same page. Closing deals. So make sure you listen carefully and let's have some fun.
Mm-hmm. No, I like that because we have a bit of a team now.
Right.
And when while you're away for a few days, I do whatever I do, but
right.
I certainly don't want to bother you while you're away. But like, it's more fun when you have another person.
Right.
Absolutely. You know, if you're thinking of doing real estate and it's all by yourself, get at least a partner, a wife, a cousin, a brother.
Somebody to
Your
talk
neighbor. Yeah, somebody like when you fall down, they pick you up. When they fall down, you pick them up.
to. Right.
Yeah, it's a team activity.
Right.
One against the universe isn't good odds.
Sure. So we talked about, and I was going to look this up this morning, I forgot. We talked about, I just went blank. CTN, criteria, terms, and network.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that in past episodes. So criteria is the type of property you want to buy and, does it match your business plan? And, so it makes it easier when you're looking at deals to know it's a yay or a nay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? And then your terms are how are you going to buy the deal? Like what terms? What are you willing to do? Or what's the seller willing to do? will they give you a 5-year mortgage or a 3-year lease or, whatever? Do they want all cash now? Whatever it may be.
The kind of deals you can do.
Right. So it's the terms of the deal, not the terms like in length, but it's like the way you structure it and what's agreed upon, like the parameters of the deal.
Mm-hmm. Sometimes I hear they use the word conditions. What
The
conditions of
that's right.
this, we'll do this, that, the details.
That's a good way to describe it.
I've seen that in a dictionary. Like, the word terms, I know 3 different definitions that can confuse people easily. So you have to keep the right one in mind when we're talking.
Right.
Or listening to us.
Right. And then the last one is your network. And your network out of the CTN, the network is, who's going to help you close the deal? Who's going to get you to your end product? Who's going to actually help you? And when I mean help you, I don't mean physically do things, although that is important, but it's not just that. It's also mindset. Do you have somebody around you that you need to constantly bolster and blow up, puff up?
Mm-hmm.
Come on, we could do this. Come on, we could do this. Come on, if you leave them to their own devices, they'll just deflate, and kind of like a flat tire on a car. You know what I mean? It's like all of a sudden the car will have to stop driving because that one tire went flat.
Mm-hmm.
The engine's still good, the transmission's still good. The gas is in the car, the steering still works. Everything else still works, but you just got this one flat tire that made you pull over, and your destination is impeded because of this one flat tire. And that's what it's like if you have someone on your team that doesn't believe what you believe or what the rest of the team believes. And honestly, really, I'm going to stop talking about it, but that's a core of a lot of our listeners' problems right there. Is like you were saying before, it's one thing to have people of comparable magnitude to you,
mm-hmm.
That's mindstorming,
brainstorming, masterminding.
Mindstorming, masterminding.
Uh-huh.
Can't remember his name. The book, Think and Grow Rich.
Oh,
Napoleon Hill.
Yeah.
He writes about that.
That was a big thing of his. And you think, the president of this company or the owner of that business, he's so smart. And you find he has 3-5 guys that are really smart, and they work together and they solve things together, and they give him good feedback. Yeah.
So I want to clarify something there, because I know what you're saying, but I've been through this experience, and I'd like to put my 2 cents on that. So being smart is one thing. I don't even qualify that anymore. What I think is more important is that you all want the same thing. Your passion to get that thing, whatever it is, or that end phenomenon, is so high that even if you're not smart, you get smart, because you're willing to take the bad with the good. But the best part about mindstorming or masterminding is that when and I found that it can't be less than 3 people to do that, and when one person goes down, the other 2 pick them up.
Might take 2 to pick one up.
Yeah, right. So I have found, some of the most successful things I've done has always been that way. There's always minimally 2 guys, but maybe a manager. Like when I had my auto business, it was my boss, my partner and I, and then we had a good manager. So it was really the 3 of us, but it was, it really, to do it correctly, I think you need 3.
Yeah.
The point that I'm trying to really hammer home here is that if you have an infection in that mindset, it's like boxing a shadow. You work and work and work and work, and the shadow's just always there. And I have a lot of attention on that in my business right now, because it doesn't take much. to have that happen. And it's not overt either. It's not like the person says, "Oh, we're not going to buy that house by Friday."
Mm-hmm.
It's usually silent disagreement.
Mm.
It's usually somebody doesn't agree and they don't tell you. And that overthrows your business. Because if you say, if I like, so let's say you and I are doing something and I say, "Pete, we got to buy this house by Friday, or we got to close on this house by Friday."
Mm.
And you're thinking, "Yeah, how the hell is he going to do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's just too steep of a runway."
Mm.
And yet you won't say anything to me, right? But you don't believe it's going to happen. So when it comes to you making a decision, like your wife needs you to like go do something for her, or you got to pick up your kid, right? Or you got to like do something for the lawyer. Like, which one are you going to do?
Mm.
Am I being clear about this, or am I just being...
I think so. No, it's a good question, because it's a real question, because when I work with somebody like you and you say something, seriously, like if I'm not sure how to do it, I'm not going to say, "I don't think you can do that."
Right.
I don't want to say that. So I personally would try to go along and make it work some way.
Right.
But at some point also say, "Well, how are you going to do that?" To be honest about it. Because if you don't,
right,
and then you're not playing the same game.
Right.
It's not going to work out.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's kind of like, let me give a good analogy here. I'm not good at sports, so it's kind of like, for a football team. I mean, one team goes one way and the other team goes the other way.
Mm-hmm.
So how hard is it for a quarterback to run the wrong way? It's not hard at all, right?
Well, he starts running backwards to throw.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's really a decision. So could he really, at any given time, make a decision and turn around and run the wrong way?
Well, I don't know. I hope
could.
not. I hope not.
He
I
could.
think when it happens, it's one of the guys that get the ball thrown to them because they're spinning around a lot out there in the field, and they could get turned around.
Right.
But yeah, it can happen.
Right. So you want to make sure that you're facing forward and you're looking at the goal, and you don't lose sight of that, and you do anything and everything to get there.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't have the horsepower or the intention behind you to help push you, then you may not make it. And it doesn't take much for someone to not push as hard. Right?
Yeah. No, it's easy to give. I mean, the hardest thing is don't quit.
Right.
Just keep going.
Right. So, but that's a. I was going to end there, but you just bring something up. That's okay to do what you're saying. I mean, push hard, but how much can you push by yourself?
Mm. No, because you could be pushing a lot of stuff.
I mean,
sellers, buyers, lawyers, contractors, realtors, lawns, rain, weather. You can be pushing a lot of stuff.
Let's take a car, for example. Let's just pick a Lincoln Town Car because they're big.
Yes, I've driven Lincolns.
Nice.
Yes, and Cadillacs.
Yeah, in the front or in the back?
The front.
Oh, were you the driver?
Yes.
The chauffeur?
Yes.
Oh,
no.
Okay.
No, my dad wound up buying cars from his barbershop customers.
Oh.
And he had these big CEOs, sidebar comment, and he'd buy cars from like famous people and they have their name on the inside.
Nice.
Like, you can drive around the state and see XX Motors, and I had that car. I'd be driving that. And I was like a young guy with long hair, and boy, when I stopped at stoplights and people drove up next to me and they looked at me, they didn't like it at all. Like, why is that hippie in that car? Because I would inherit it eventually.
Sure.
Yeah, there I was.
Nice.
So the Lincoln Town Car is a very nice car.
So you're behind it, and you have to push it.
Oh.
So let's just take that scenario, okay? First of all, first thing, we're just talking about you pushing the car all by yourself.
Mm.
So
Wait a minute. Who's going to steer it?
Exactly. More importantly than that, you have to push it uphill or downhill.
Whatever you're stuck with.
You see what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, this is like how your real estate business is. If by making decisions, you decide, do you push the car uphill, you push it downhill, and then who's going to steer it, right? More importantly, if you had 4 or 5 other big guys, like sumo wrestlers, helping you push it, and then you got in the car and steered it, what would it be like?
Way better.
Right? So this is like delegation.
That'd be
Like-
4 manpower.
Yeah. There you go. Instead of 5 horsepower.
Yeah, 5 manpower. 5 sumo power.
Yeah. But this is like delegation, because once you decide, oh, okay, well, first of all, this car's got to be pushed uphill, so I don't need 4 guys. I might need 8 guys. Or it's going to be pushed downhill. Maybe I only need 4 guys. So why don't I get those 4 guys and get it arranged, and then I'll get in the driver's seat and I'll drive. I'll steer.
Bill, you know what I do when I'm uphill? Turn the car around.
Nice. Peter.
Well, it's a Zen strat. You were talking about that the other day. Somebody was Zen. Like somebody comes at you, you don't fight them. You use their motion. So if the hill goes up, it also goes down. To turn it around, there's a gas station that way.
So
that's just a little bit of friendly advice.
All right. So I know that we're talking about the dream team. We got a little profound there for probably better half of the show, but this is why the team is so important. I'm not so much struck on who you have or what you have, although we're going to talk about that. It's more important that you protect the purpose of the organization or of the task or of the deal than anything else. And let me give you a little hint, Peter, because nobody ever talks about this, and this is really profound. We're like on the deep end of the profound pond.
It might be a lake, Bill.
Let me give you a little secret.
What's that?
And I'm going to tell you that I don't even know if I could teach this. But here is the golden nugget of every deal. If you figure out what the seller needs and wants, and then go around the table and hold their hand and walk the path with them and help them get it, you'll make a lot of money. So if your team is aligned to that, everybody wins. So there's like a little bit of a public relations thing going on here. So you, as the acquisition manager or the person talking to the seller, accumulate what's important to that seller and then align your team to deliver solutions for those problems. And every person they talk to, they get the feeling that, they get the feeling because it's really happening. It's not a fake thing. They get the feeling that this team is helping them out.
So it's really important to transfer that data, that knowledge, and keep it alive and keep it real, that this is what we're doing, this is why, this is what the person needs.
Yep. And keep the entire team aligned to that purpose that the seller wants. Because think about it, at the end of the day, the seller's not going to a closing table to get something he doesn't want. I mean, really, every seller holds us hostage until they get what they want. They don't sign the documents or the deed until they get what they want.
Yeah, they do that.
Number 1 on the list of the dream team. A printer.
Printer.
Yeah, not like go to Staples and buy a printer.
Like a company?
Yeah.
They can make your materials.
That prints your marketing materials, yeah.
Like sign and cards.
Yeah. So you're going to want to make sure that they can print flyers. I mean, we use Staples because they're convenient. Really, I'm going to have to switch over pretty soon and get I'm going to have a different printer I'm going to use because we're just making copies and we're designing stuff ourselves, but a good printer. I just went blank. I can't. They're a chain. Yeah, they're a chain company. I want to say ABC Printers, but that's not it. It'll come to me.
Pronto printers.
Yeah.
Well, there's Kinko's. There's FedEx Kinko's. You mean that kind of place?
Yeah, no, I'm talking about an actual printer.
Oh, yeah, like they actually more graphic design and...
Yeah.
I got you.
But you're going to want to make sure that you get your marketing out. And I have found that if a good way to pick a printer, this is stupid, but a good way to pick a printer is if you have black ink on like colored paper, right, like 8.5 by 11-inch paper, and they charge somewhere in the vicinity of 3 to 4 cents to make that, then you probably got a good printer.
Yeah, in quantity.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a lot more when you just go to a print shop.
Right.
So yeah, it's a lot more than that. 10, 11, 12 cents.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So here's what we are working on in my office is that you need to make sure if you're having steady flow of income, you need to make sure you have about 3 or 4 marketing campaigns going at all times. Because if you just do one, it's like an ebb and flow. It's like high tide, low tide.
Yeah, and you'll miss things. You'll be stuck on one. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do that in my own business, and I'm finding it harder because it's such a different world right now.
Right.
So what we find in real estate, at least we know that works.
Good. So the next person you probably should find, and which, by the way, I want to preface this all the way because we're going to have to go here pretty soon. I'm kind of running out of time. I want to preface this with you don't build your team first. You find a house first, and then you start building the team. Because these people are going to want to work on something. They don't want to work on your idea. They want to work on a deal. So when you start getting a deal, this is when it'll start coming together. You ran into that when we first got together.
Yeah, the way I was trained, some weekend seminars, you come home with these piles of books, and you're going through and need a lawyer, need an accountant, and need a escrow account. It's all the stuff you need. And I don't even have a house.
Yeah.
But you would need some marketing in the beginning to get going.
The marketing for sure.
Yeah.
My philosophy is if you work an hour a day on your marketing and an hour a day talking to sellers, then you will buy a house fairly quick. Okay. Next one, title agent. So in Connecticut, we are a judicial state, which means that we use attorneys to close our deals. But many states around the country and outside of the United States, because I know we have people in Australia and other places listening to the podcast, you need a title agent. So I'm going to explain this 2 different ways. So a title agent is also called a closing agent. At the end of the day, here's what happens. You're going to pass a title or a deed. And when you do, that title or deed should be insured for mistakes because titles or deeds go on land records, and land records stay forever. They don't go away. So you could, 50 years from now, your estate could deal with a title problem that you had.
If someone else owned something or owed something.
Yeah. Who knows? Any kind of mistakes.
Yeah.
I mean, I can give you lots of examples, but I don't want to waste the time doing that.
Right, but you want to, they ensure that it's okay, and if anything happens, they take care of it because the insurance will cover the problem.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you should buy title insurance, or they call it title insurance or deed insurance. Okay. So what you want to do is find a person that sells that. Now, in my case, my attorney sells it because that's what they do in Connecticut. And a lot of other states, they have a closing agent that does that. Okay, or they call them title agents.
Right.
Okay. So the main reason you want a title agent is to do title searches. Okay, so when you buy a piece of property, the first thing you should do is a title search. Okay, in most cases, it takes 2 or 3 days to do a title search. Depending on the person doing it, it could be up to 5 days. When I'm with a seller, I tell them that we have to wait 5 business days to do a title search. Basically, what happens is the title agent will go extract from the town hall or city hall, whatever you call it. They will extract the history of the title and give it, in my case, to my attorney. My attorney reviews it to make sure there's no blemishes or hiccups or anything like that that would have recourse on me later. Okay, so at the end of the day, the seller is going to give us a warranty deed. Warranty means that there are no liens or encumbrances or anything that is going to bite me in the ass later. You know what I mean?
You're looking for the right words.
Yeah.
Yes, you want a clear title.
Yeah, so it just means, clear title. It's a little bit more than clear title. Because a title could be appearance. It could have an appearance of being clear.
Right. So warranty is a better word.
Because
more like a guaranteed warranty. It's guaranteed.
Like, so this way here, if the title company does have to go back, because the title company is not just going to roll over and say, here's your money. I mean, they will, but then they may go chase the money later. You know, like suppose an attorney did something wrong, they could go to the attorney and sue the attorney saying, you know, you did this and you did that and we want our money back. Okay, so there's a whole process behind it.
Right.
Okay.
But that's your security, your peace of mind.
So a lot of times, like my guy's at a point now, I didn't even realize it till the other day, but he actually doesn't charge me for my title searches. So if you do enough business with them, then they'll do the search. It's getting easier and easier because a lot of towns are now going online. So, you know, often my guy will just do it at his desk instead of going to the town hall or city hall. A lot of times I'll go do it myself. Or I'll go before I buy a property or get involved, I'll go to the town hall and just look at some history. You know, I'll be curious about some things, you know, like border lines and, you know, easements and, you know, building lots, you know, is it a building lot available, you know, stuff like that. I'll go check out, you know, a plat of land is usually like in the beginning when there's a farm, you know, and they want to put roads and stuff in, you can go find those maps and there's curiosities. Like one time I had a piece of property that had a piece of land next to it that I was trying to make into a building lot, and the telephone company, AT&T, okay, no, I'm sorry, Southern
SNET, Southern New England Telephone.
Yeah.
That goes back a few decades.
Yeah.
SNET.
So they had an easement on my property, and I point blank just called them up and said, "You've had an easement on my property. I just got the right phone number. I don't even know how I did this."
They're not in business.
No, I got the right phone number. Ironically enough, it was one town over from where I lived. And the girl, I wanted to talk to the engineer, and she said, well, he doesn't talk to the public. He only talks to internal SNAT people. So I said to her, can you leave him a message? Please write this down because I'd like you to deliver it exactly the way I say it. She said, okay, I'm ready. And I said to her, please take your easement off my property. It's been there for 100 years. I think it's time to let it go. And they did. Okay, so those things happen.
Yep.
Insurance agent. Hey, Emma, can you go in my computer? I was going to write this down before I left, and hopefully we have enough time. In my favorites, could you just tell me the name of the insurance company that we use? It's National something. So basically, an insurance policy wants to make sure that you want to have an insurance policy on your properties to cover any loss. Yeah, so I'm going to give you the name. This is a really good one. It's National
Insurance.
National Real Estate Insurance Group. Okay, so it's National Real Estate Insurance Group. National Real Estate Insurance Group.
The URL is nreig.com.
Okay, I'm going to, hang on, she's saying it's N.
reig.com.
Okay, good, thank you. So the URL is nreig.com. These are investors that run this insurance company. This is like a find and a half. I mean, this is like 10 or 12 years of dealing with many insurance guys, and this is a find and a half. What I like about this group is that they are investors. They know how to insure as an investor, and they make you pay monthly, not annually. So it's like if you're flipping houses and 1 month it's here and next month it's not, you can actually just insure that house for 1 month. Okay, and just pay for it for 1 month and be covered. And they're a great group. And the reason why I'm promoting them is because, ironically enough, I just had a student buy a house at noontime, and at 4 o'clock a tornado went through and did a lot of damage, and this company covered it. They paid the claim. I think they had like a $60,000 claim. They were insured for literally 4 hours.
Yep.
So they're a good company. Okay. So insurance agent, we got that. Real estate attorney. There are all different kinds of attorneys. Attorneys are like dogs. there's a lot of different breeds.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's Shih Tzus and Terriers and Poodles and Shepherds and Collies, and there's just a lot of them.
And way different sizes.
Right. So I will. I'm going to give you a couple hints over the next couple ones on how to find people. Okay, because this is how I did it. So if you want to find a good real estate attorney, what I would do is I would go to your town clerk and find out who is there a lot filing deeds. Or if you have like a city council, or no, I'm sorry, I'm not saying that right. Planning and zoning.
Mm-hmm.
Go to planning and zoning and ask the folks at planning and zoning who's there a lot doing land work. You know, like representing big guys, you know, like who puts in the Home Depots and the, you know, those kind of guys. Or who's there quite often doing additions for people.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's lawyers that have to get involved with that stuff.
Is there a difference between lawyers that work for large commercial businesses and like guys like us? So would we want the big commercial guy or
no,
the guy
but
that?
I'm just saying that when you go there, they can tell you who those guys are because the Home Depot will come to a local attorney and he'll deal with it.
Okay, that would be suitable for ours.
Yeah,
our work with like single
because
family
he would
homes.
have a lot of experience on land contracts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, on land usage.
Mm.
Okay, they know planning and zoning, and they're very good at that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys are the good guys. So just go to your city hall, go to the city clerk, and find out who goes often to file deeds, and then go to planning and zoning and find out and see if they match. Right? It's a good way to find.
Never heard you say that one. That's good.
Yeah. So that's a good way to find a real estate attorney. Okay. Mortgage brokers. Okay, so I'm not talking about hard money guys yet. I'm talking about a mortgage broker.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry. I realized that as I'm going through this, there were some things I wanted to do before I started, and I didn't do that. So, I'm gonna stop for a second. The guy Ritter that we use for credit repair. What was his name? What was the name of that? Yeah. Can you see if you can look him up so we can, when I get to that point, it's there. Paul Ritter, is it? Anyways, so I'm confusing things. A mortgage broker. So one thing that you want to have is that when your person wants to cash out, you have a mortgage broker.
Right.
Okay. So a good way to find a mortgage broker is to speak to your closing agent. I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead. A good way to find a mortgage broker is to look at some deeds at the town hall and see what banks are often being used.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little bit hard work. You usually don't have to go that far.
Mm-hmm.
We use, did you find him? His name, I think, is Paul Ritter.
That sounds familiar, Paul.
Ritter. Paul Ritter. And what's the name of the site, Em? It's How to Screen a Tenant. How to Screen a Tenant. Is it?
No. That's a different site.
Yeah, that's his wife owns that.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to go try to find what you're... Yeah.
Anyways, so I use him because he's a credit repair guy, and he's able to get people financed.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and he's got some mortgage companies and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, and don't worry about it, that's good enough. Okay, so a lot of times you can find a good mortgage broker by looking through credit repair. I could tell you that a good way to do that is with BNI groups. Visit some BNI groups. You'll be able to find some of these guys BNI.
Mm-hmm. That's business networking.
Yeah, international. Okay. Now, private lenders, okay, which, yeah, we're going to talk about that in a minute. Okay, realtors.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing I'm going to say about realtors is I do use them. I can tell you that we should probably do a show on how to hire a realtor. They are a dime a dozen. Just do this one thing, and you'll find the right realtor. How many deals have you closed on in the last 12 months?
Mm.
And if it's less than 15 or 20, run for the hills. I don't care how nice they are. I don't care how nice they are to you. I don't care how much work they've done for you. I don't care about any of that. If they've done less than 20, you don't have the right one. A year in the last 12 months. Okay?
Could it be too much, like a person's too busy and it gets sloppy, or
I'm
you don't
having
get the
that trouble
attention?
now. Mine does 90, and I've just hired a new acquisition manager, and he's a realtor, and I'm going to start just doing it internal.
Yeah.
Because I don't like, I can't stand it anymore.
Hmm.
The last 2 deals pushed me over the edge. I'm pulling in. I'm gonna almost ban them from my office because it's just that psychotic right now. All right, good. So I'm going to talk about hard money and private money together because we're out of time. We're actually over time right now. The best way to find hard money or private money, guys, is to go to your closing agent or your attorney, whoever closes in your state and has an office, and ask them to please share with you the top 3 guys that write loans.
Right, because he's writing the notes for them.
Yeah, so the
Okay.
closing attorney, the real estate attorney, and the closing agent, either the attorney will write the notes and the agent will perform the notes. They'll do the closings. Okay, so that's really important to do that. It's a great way. I found 3 people when I first started, probably the first month I started, when I started buying houses. And I used those people, I'll bet you, for 8 or 10 years. Never had to go looking for money.
Yeah.
There was enough there.
Yeah.
Because what happens is when I went to my money person, who was a woman, and told her I need more money, and she asked me, she said, I didn't have any more money, I can't do the deal. And then she said to me, let me ask you a question. Would you mind if I had a partner? I'm like, no. And I actually did a deal where there's 2 of them, and every month I wrote 2 checks. But I got the money. Okay? So it's a great way to find them.
Okay.
Contractors, the last one. I'm going to rattle through them because we can make a whole episode out of contractors.
No comment.
Yeah, we're going to keep it that way. So you want contractors that can do property upgrades, upkeep, miscellaneous stuff, and do the work. Okay, so this is important what I'm telling you because when you're doing a renovation, there's 3 stages of the renovation. The first one is to go in and clean the house, clean up. Right, like get all the garbage out, get the dumpster, clean it up. Contractor, a general contractor will probably not do that. Then you go in and you want to actually do the work, like put the kitchen in, put the bathroom in, put the floor in, paint the walls, all that kind of stuff. And then once you're done with that, you want to clean up again because they're slobs. But that's all part of the middle section. And then once you're done and the house is sitting for sale, you want to do maintenance, like who cuts the grass, who plows the snow, who shovels the sidewalk, who changes the light bulb, checks on the house, all that kind of stuff. So there's like 3 sections of that, right? So when you're looking at contractors, you should look at it in those 3 buckets. Okay? So the different contractors you're going to have is going to have a general cleaning contractor, you're going to have a painter, a carpet cleaner, a floor guy that does like laminate floors and tile and all that kind of stuff. Window coverings, general home repairs. Windows, when I say window coverings, I'm talking about like awnings and stuff like that. And then you have the actual window guy himself. General home repairs, a plumber, a roofer, a landscaper. That's a big one. I always fall apart on the landscaper. Yard maintenance. That's my biggest weakness. You're so much better at that than I am. Snow removal, junk removal, pest inspection or pest control. Because that comes up on some of the closings. You have termites or you have some
inspection
issues.
level.
Yeah, it depends on what state you're in, but we don't have as much trouble as the guys in Florida. Okay? So, a locksmith, pool maintenance, maybe a home inspector. I don't use one of those too much. Maybe an alarm company for residential alarms, credit repair, and maybe an auctioneer if you're going to auction houses. We've done a lot of that. So that's the list. Okay, Peter. So I can't see the clock. I think we're about 6 minutes over, or 8 minutes. 9 minutes, Emma says. So we're out of here. So much for having a 30-minute show. Anyways, if you want any help with any of this stuff, we have a new webpage that you should go to. It's called flippinghousesforrookies.com/free stuff. That's flippinghousesforrookies.com /free stuff. I have a bunch of forms and scripts and videos and all on one page. It's very easy to manipulate and use. You should go there and check it out. And lastly, I just thought of this. We'll probably put a button on that free stuff page so we can do reviews. If you like our show, we're 119 shows in. Please give us a review. If you can't find that anywhere, just go to flippinghousesforrookies.com/review. iTunes review. So it's /iTunes review. Okay? Sorry I took an extra 10 minutes today, but I think it was worth it. We kind of did that in the beginning of the show because I really wanted to get the mindset. Okay? Over and out. See you next week.
Thanks for tuning in to the hottest real estate topics on the planet with Bill and Pete. If you want to continue learning how to buy and sell real estate without money or credit, head over to flippinghouses.club for some cutting-edge real estate wealth tools. Or contact us at info@flippinghouses.club.